we change our perspective? By recognizing there's two pieces. One piece is the Jnana Yoga path, and the other piece is the Bhakti Yoga, the devotion. If we are stuck with our perception, if we are still stuck with that control and it's so hard to let go and be devoted, this is when we bring in the Jnana Yoga path. And we actually say to ourselves, okay, I've been running my life for a certain number of years. I've been trying to manage things for a certain number of years of my life. This is what, with my clarity of vision, I am able to see is the result of what I was doing. And it doesn't mean it was a disaster. I mean, on a personal level, I can look back at my life and say, yeah, it seemed to be going fine. Things seemed to be fine. And yet, what it didn't have was the actual experience of the bliss. It didn't have the actual potential for the peace, for the transformation that a path of devotion does. So you begin actually with a very rational approach to, okay, this is what my life looks like when I control it. And when most of us are very honest about it, what we realize is we don't do such a good job. We may be able to put things together on the external level. We can make money. We can build houses. But in terms of our deep inner level, we're not able, through what we are doing, to actually give ourselves the experience that we're looking for in our life. And that's when, whether we've had it with God or the Guru, or we still haven't had it, in either case, what we come to is an experience of, okay, God, I've done everything I know how, and it's not working. Now I have this leap of faith. It's like when you go to the doctor. Most of us hate going to the doctor. Some of us hate it even more than others. We all know people who, whatever happens, never will go to the doctor until it's really bad. I know for me, on a personal level, every time I get a cold, begins with a stuffy nose, get a little fever, I will do everything Ayurvedically I possibly can do to avoid taking any sort of allopathic chemicals. I end up going through jars of honey that I'm mixing with all kinds of different churdans for this and for that and this and that. Going through bottles of what looks like dirt from different types of plants, different colored churdan, gargling, this, that, the whole thing. Doesn't make it go away. At the end of the day, no matter what I do, I end up with bronchitis. Now, this is not true for everyone. This is a personal history of my life and my lungs, but I end up with bronchitis, and I end up on antibiotics. And yet, what I've done is wasted 2 to 3 weeks of my life in which I've had a fever, in which I'm not able to do anything because I'm sick. And yet, even though I know this is the pattern, it is so difficult for myself, for my ego, the minute I get sick, to say, maybe I should be smart enough and take the antibiotics from the beginning, rather than wasting yet another 3 weeks of my life being sick and miserable. Because every time you think, oh, I can do it, this time I'm going to do it. And this is what happens in our life. We think, oh, I'm going to figure it out this time. I'm going to attain my peace, my joy, my enlightenment. I don't need anybody's help. And what most of us find again and again and again is we keep falling. And so you get to the point sooner or later at which you say, okay, God, I've done this enough. I know where this is going. Like I know where my cold is going to go. I've seen this. This is my pattern. You say, all right, God, I don't want to do this again. I'm now ready to admit I don't know the way. I don't know the answer. I don't have the tools. Doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. Just like it doesn't mean there's something wrong with me that for a whole variety of reasons, my lungs happen to be weak, I end up needing antibiotics. Doesn't make me a weak person or a bad person. Needing to have a guru, needing to have God in our life, does not mean that we're somehow weaker people. It just means actually that we're stronger, that we're able to admit, I can't do this. And since you are the one who's there, whether it's in the role of a physical guru or whether it's just to God, you are where I want to be. Carry me across this ocean. Help me get across. I'm drowning. I thought I could swim, but I'm actually drowning. And from that takes us then into the devotion. But we have to first understand that we're not going to do it ourselves. Because otherwise, relinquishing the control is very, very difficult unless you are really blessed and happen to just be born into a family in a world where there was juicy devotion from childhood. Most of us tend to be a little bit overeducated for that, a little over-indoctrinated for that, and we try to hold on. But eventually you realize it's not working. And that's when we shift into the devotion. Shouldn't be our last resort, but in many cases it ends up being the last resort. And the beautiful part about that is it's no less magical. It's not like God says, I know I'm your last resort. Or the guru says, I know you've come to me after trying everything. That's the beautiful piece. Is they never say, yeah, I realize I'm, your last choice. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether they're first choice or last choice, they're ready. And that's the grace.